Okay, this approach is probably holding you back from actually getting in control of your blood sugars, in control of your weight, in control of your health. And I say that because it is the most common thing I see, sabotaging people, getting in their way, and it is not having the wrong plan. It's nothing to do with which diet you're following or the way you're implementing exercise into your day. It's a mindset. The approach is a mindset, and it is going for the all or nothing way of doing things. It is so common that people take on this way of looking at things in the health space, and it just doesn't work. It does not get you where you want to go. And I think there are people that recognize that this is not how they achieve things in other areas of life. And there are some people that feel like this is just how they operate, this is just how they do things, that they are an all or nothing person. I think there's elements of that that are true. I think there are certainly people that just really throw themselves into the things that they do. But when we dig into it a little bit deeper, I think they'll realize that the things that they have done well at and achieved, although they might have thrown themselves into them, they didn't flick to that nothing side of things when it didn't go to plan, which is what the all or nothing mindset is about, right? It's essentially quitting at the first sign of difficulty. Because if we kind of like take this principle and apply it to somewhere else in life, like work maybe, we can see that it's not compatible with long-term progress and growth and achievement. Like if you're a teacher, for example, and you go into a lesson and it doesn't go well, and it could not go well for a number of reasons. Maybe you weren't prepared, maybe you hadn't planned in the way that you should have done, but maybe you did, and maybe it still just went completely, all to pot. No one was paying attention. You couldn't get anyone to engage. The exercises you planned just didn't pan out in the way they thought they were going to. You're stressed out, and no one's learned a thing in that lesson. If you come away from that and you kind of say to yourself, like, I guess I'm not meant to be a teacher. Like I tried and it didn't work out. I guess I'm not a teacher. This isn't for me. Like that just doesn't happen, right? And for one, I know like our income isn't tied to our health in the same way, right? But we do, I think all of us know or would say that our health is just as, if not more, if not close to, as important as our income, right? And maybe it just doesn't have that same urgency about it, but we know the importance level is there for sure. But also, I think we struggle to identify or what kind of self-identity we have. Like we are very tied with our work in our society as to like how we see ourselves and what we do for work. So, when you have that bad day as a teacher, you still think of yourself as a teacher, right? You're just a teacher who had a bad day at it. You don't start thinking that you're not a teacher, that this is not who you are or what you should be doing. But with our health, I think a lot of us kind of view ourselves maybe as someone who has always struggled with their weight. Someone who's maybe you feel like you're lazy. Maybe you feel like you're someone who loves food. Maybe you feel like you're someone who enjoys being social at the pub, someone who crashes out on the sofa after a long day. But the thing is, when we shift our behaviors and when we start doing things a little bit differently, we often don't shift that identity piece in the way we see ourselves. So even when you are starting to get in control of your weight, you are going out of your way to be active, you are being someone who enjoys food that is nourishing them, and you are someone who goes out for a walk straight after a long day, even when you start doing those things, you often don't kind of like shift how you see yourself. You still think of yourself as that person before. And we think that that part of us is fixed when we know that we can grow in other areas. And we're not fixed in any way, right? If you think of yourself 10 years ago and you think about the way you looked at the world, the way you thought about relationships, the values that you held, the people that you surrounded yourself with, the things that were important to you, just the way you looked at anything, I think you'll see massive shifts. in some of that at least. Like things have hugely changed that you probably didn't think 10 years ago were going to change. You probably felt like they were pretty set in their ways, but actually, like you have changed massively in the last 10 years. So we need to acknowledge that we can change, and that when we do start to shift and change our behavior, we can own that. And we don't have to be looking for evidence that we're still this older version of ourselves, this past version of ourselves. We can step into that and see ourselves as this new version. I'm going to draw something out here. So let me get this up, because this, I think, is the opposite what I'm going to go to compared to the all or nothing mindset. So this is who we are, how we operate, right? So this bottom line here is worst days, we'll call in like regards to our health. And the top line is our best days. And we're always operating somewhere in between those two lines. You know, we've all got like our best and our worst. Now, when we attempt to improve our health, the way most of us go about it is by just massively increasing our ceiling, right? We try and really dial in our best days. We try and get everything spot on. We try and eat really well for every single meal. We try and not snack on anything. We try and be really active, and we try and get everything completely dialed in. And on average, this will lead to an upward trajectory, right? But this is so unstable. Like being this person here on the right with these kind of like massive variations in how we do stuff, how we operate, how we behave. It's very difficult to maintain, because do you think of yourself as this person up here at the top with these habits and behaviors? Or do you see yourself as this person down here with these habits and behaviors? Like I said, it's very unstable, and we are going to fall eventually, right? We are going to fall, and we're going to fall down to our baseline. So if instead of this, just undo this, instead of that, if we just raise our baseline a little bit, and we can raise our ceiling as well, we can make our best days a little bit better, but we don't have to get everything completely dialed in. But when we do this, and when we think about our worst days and can we make those a little bit better, we still have this upward trajectory, but this is much more stable. This is much more possible to maintain and to continue on this path upwards, because we know who we are. You know, we know what we say yes to and what we don't say yes to. And we're much clearer in our identity and our habits and our routines. So this is, yeah, this is the opposite of having an all or nothing mindset. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, but instead of just making your best days better and increasing the distance between who you are on some days compared to others, can you make your worst days a little bit better? And can we kind of like bring up our trajectory and where we're heading in that way? I'm going to share something else here as well, because this is essentially the idea behind, this is the thought process behind the first part of the type 2 turnarounds. So let me share this here. Okay. So the first thing we do at the type 2 turnaround is get our diet dailies in place. And these are a set of small habits. They're super easy to do, so that even on your worst days, you can still get them done. We make them really easy. We remove as much friction as possible. We kind of make it difficult to come up with an excuse not to do these. And they take less than 5 minutes every day. But what these are doing is setting up so that even on your worst days, even if everything goes completely to pot after this, you have still done a certain amount thinking about, considering, and working towards your health. So that's what this Diet Dailies is all about. It's about raising your baseline, getting us away from that all or nothing mindset. They're very small habits. You might even think like, what's the point in doing these? But what these do is they give us an anchor. They give us something to stay with, even when like the we get those bad days, and they keep our momentum going. So the Diet Dailies, these small, tiny little habits, are the opposite to the all or nothing mindset. So I would really, really encourage you to try and take something from this video, because honestly, it is the biggest thing I see getting in the way for people, having this all or nothing mindset, falling off and just like going with that, and it being a long time before you turn it around. That is what we need to do, is minimize the time that it takes before we get back to consistency. If we can shorten that time frame, because it's always going to happen. We're always going to fall. We're always going to drop to our baselines. So can we bring our baseline up, and can we get ourselves back to that consistency as quickly as possible? If you can do that, if you can think about that approach, that is going to take you leaps and bounds in terms of your progress towards your health goals, because consistency, no matter what it is that you're being consistent with, you don't have to have it completely dialed in. You don't have to have it, you don't have to be on exactly the right plan for you. If you can be consistent in some behaviors that, someone is telling you is healthy, they are probably going to move you in the right direction. Okay, from where you are now, they're probably going to be an improvement. So if you can get consistency with anything, that is the thing that is most going to help you move towards your health goals. And yeah, let me know in the comments how you think you can apply this, what you're going to do to move away from an all or nothing mindset, and how you can maybe think about raising your baseline a little bit better.